Your classroom community is one of the most important parts of classroom management. So how exactly do you build your classroom community throughout the school year? One way is with team building games and activities. I'm sharing 7 different games and activities that you can do in your classroom today. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I share tips on how to run an effective and efficient classroom so that you have more time to teach. So most people only do team building, get to know you type activities at the beginning of the school year. Now granted, of course, you're going to do those, but I have found over the last 4 years that if you do it all year long, it creates this community and family that I have never experienced before in the classroom. It allows students to continue to get to know each other on an informal level. It allows students to learn how to take turns and share and to be good winners and good losers of a game. It teaches life skills in a way that the kids love it. And as the teacher, you are imparting those social and emotional learning skills through games and activities. These 7 activities are some of my students' favorite ones, and they are really easy to do right away in your classroom. The first one is called Pass the Clap. So you have your students stand in a circle. Now you could totally do this outside, but we do it right in our classroom. We just kind of form a circle around the perimeter of the classroom, and one person will look, who starts the game, will look at the next person and they try to clap at the same time. Once they clap at the same time, then it turns to the other person and they try to clap at the same time. And the clap passes around the circle from partner to partner. So what students learn is they have to really think about either making eye contact or timing themselves well. And once you finally get around that first time, because it does take the longest the first time, then you can challenge them to see if they can pass the clap faster. And so often we get to the point where we're timing ourselves and trying to beat our time. The second game is called Meet Me in the Middle. Again, you form a giant circle with your students around the classroom, and then you go around the circle and each person says, "Meet me in the middle if," and then they say anything. So meet me in the middle if you like pizza. So if you agree with that statement, then you step forward to the middle of the circle. And then this is a great way for students to see what they have in common. This is another good sort of get to know you one, and it doesn't have to be done at the beginning of the year. If you don't have room for students to be in a circle and moving towards the middle of the circle, you can also do something similar to stand up with me if you, while they're sitting at their seats, and then they can stand if they agree with the statement. Compass name game is a great way to help students listen in order to follow directions. So again, you're forming that large circle around the perimeter of your classroom, and then you have an it person. And this person will walk around and they will stand in front of something and they will say either you, me, left, or right. So whichever direction they give, the person that they're standing in front of has to say the name of the person. So if the it person says you, they say their name. If they say me, they say the it person's name. If they say left, they say the person on their left. And if they say right, they say the person on their right. So what's really fun is when they kind of get going and they kind of start moving fast and you're trying to like figure out who's on your left, who's on your right, who's in front of you. It's just a fun game in general. The alphabet game is the good old classic car game that we used to play on road trips before we had technology. It's a great activity to do in the classroom because it gets the kids thinking. Of course, you're practicing ABC order, but you're also making sure students are working on their listening skills. Because what happens is when you have student 1, and typically we say, "On my way to school, I saw," and the first person says something that starts with an A. So on my way to school, I saw an apple. And then the second person has to say the item that the first person saw and their new item. So on my way to school, I saw an apple and a bear. And you continue on, and then of course whoever ends up with Z has to say all the items that everybody brought plus the Z. It's a fun game. Even if you don't have 26 students, you can have several students go twice. And I will say this game tends to take a little bit longer than most games because you have to go through the alphabet multiple times. The fifth game is called Rock, Paper, Scissors, Waterfall. So you basically partner your students up. They play a round of rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins then goes on to find another person who has won. But the person who loses follows the person to cheer them on. So they're cheering on the person who they lost against, and they compete against someone else. And then whoever wins that goes to find another group, and all those two people join the waterfall of people cheering. So eventually you'll get down to your final two, and you have half your class cheering for one side and half the class cheering for the other for the final round of rock, paper, scissors. Game number 6 is called ALIBI. The first thing you need to probably do is teach your students what the word alibi is, because not all of them know what it means. But what you do is you have one student who is it, and they go into the hallway to where they can't hear who is going to be the person who changes their mind. So the premise is that somebody has done something and they got in trouble. And everybody has to give an alibi of what they were doing instead of being the one who got in trouble. You have your it person go into the hallway so they can't hear who is going to be the person who gets in trouble. The person who gets in trouble comes up with 2 alibis. And so then when the it person comes in, they go around and ask everybody, what were you doing? And so everybody says, I was eating ice cream with my mom. I was reading a book. I was playing a game. And they go around the class and everybody says their first alibi. Then they go around the class again and everyone says the same alibi except the person who got in trouble or who was doing the wrong thing. They change their alibi. And so the object of the game is for the it person to figure out who was the person that did something wrong. Again, it is another game of listening, figuring out to see who is the person that says something different. My kids caught on quickly that if you only change a minor detail, it's harder for the person to figure you out. They really enjoyed this game. The next game is called Follow the Leader, and it's different than just following a person around the classroom. So again, you have another it person that goes into the hallway, and then you choose a leader that the it person doesn't know about. And so the leader is going to do a bunch of different movements that the entire class has to follow. And so when the it person comes back into the classroom, they are watching everybody and they are trying to figure out who the leader is. So if we're stomping and then the it person changes it to us clapping our hands, and everybody's following and trying not to just stare at that person so the it person can figure out who is the leader. All of these games are fun and kids think we're just having fun, but in reality, we are helping them to increase trust with each other, to encourage communication with each other, tons of problem solving, and it's just increasing collaboration and how to get along with others. These are just a few of the games and activities that we do on Team Building Tuesday. Every Tuesday for our morning meeting, we are doing some sort of game and activity. But I would love to know, what other games or team building activities do you do with your students? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, my students love Team Building Tuesday, and even after they leave the classroom, they always come back and ask if I'm still doing it every Tuesday. If you'd like to see what we do on the other days of the week for our morning meeting time, check out this video that's on your screen now, and I will see you over there.